Okay, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, July 21st, 2021, and we're going to get started with our pre-market analysis for the S&P 500 futures market. Real quick, just want to point out from a larger perspective here that we did pull back right into that 61.8 retracement that we talked about for the last day or two. Got a really clean, strong bounce out of that level. And then if you look at this whole push down from the all-time high, the 61.8 retracement of the whole push down, let's go ahead and just throw it on the chart here, was right around where we had trouble breaking through at the end of yesterday. So going into the last few hours of trading, yesterday we came right into that 61.8 retracement area, tried to push through, pull back, and close below it. But then in the overnight session here, we have gone ahead and broken through to the upside. So all of these indications are indicating more of a bullish case than a bearish case right now from that kind of perspective. So I did want to bring that up. And then also, lastly, just to bring up again how well these important levels have worked. Yesterday, pushing right into that 25. So we bounced right off of 20, let's see here, right around 54.25. It was the important level we had marked on the charts for a while now. Bounced out of that level, kind of just aggressively broke through everything above us and then pushed right into 1950, almost to the tick, pulled back decently, bounced, and then pushed right to 25. Again, another important level we've had marked on the charts. Pulled back and then found support off 1950 for a while going into the close yesterday. And you can see 1950 working out really good here in the Globex session yesterday afternoon. And then currently you can see we came up in the overnight session here and made an overnight high just let's see, 2 ticks above our important level here at 38. And then pulled back and then found some resistance right around our 36.75. Found some support off 32.75 a number of times. Then came down, broke down, and bounced right off of 25. Bounced off 25, and now it's just a little bit messy in here, but still, arguably, even some really great resistance to the tick right off 1950 once again with a pullback and then a bounce through. So amazing how all these levels have worked. So let's go down to, or let's jump up to our ultra high time frames here and take a look at the picture. Quarterly looking great, strong, no signs of exhaustion. Same thing on the monthly. And now that we have had this bounce, somewhat of a recovery from the sell-off a few days ago, this candle is starting to look a little bit better. So, but right now from divergence perspective, no indications of exhaustion. Still looking strong and still holding that trend line that we talked about probably I want to say maybe even 2.5 months ago we drew this trend line. And it's come back and it has tested the top end of it. And on this new candle came down and almost got there to the tick. You can see we missed it by just maybe a few points or a few ticks. And still holding above. So that line right there was right around 42.14. We bounced, remember, at that 42.24 level that we had forecasted the morning before it actually pulled back and bounced from that level. On our weekly, we did draw in this potential bullish divergence yesterday here. It looks like this has come down just a little bit lower, which is fine because now we have an even more defined potential bullish divergence right here. And right now, this weekly candle, we do have today, tomorrow, and Friday before it closes. So a lot of things could change in here. But if the candle does hold like this, and if we do push a little bit higher, we'll have this situation with this gigantic wick to the downside, closing up near the highs of the candle, which will be a very bullish indication. In fact, if you look back here to May 21st, the candle that closed May 21st, the candle that closed May 14th, all the way back here, the candle that closed March 5th, is looking very much like this candle right here. So looking pretty bullish, at least at the moment here on the weekly. When we jump down to our daily, yesterday we were talking about, and I mentioned that we didn't really want to have a definitive kind of case because we had all day for this candle to form. The candle did actually hold the 42, what was the low here? 42.52 area and push. And what we saw yesterday in the morning was, I believe this RVI was somewhat pushing lower. But by the time the candle closed, we don't have that situation. So there's really not necessarily a strong bullish divergence case from the lows over here. We have to get rid of that right now. And really the only clear signal we have on the daily was the bearish indication that we got all the way back on July 14th when we talked about that morning having a much more bearish case than a bullish case and expecting a bearish bias going into the morning, which then led to this push from 43.80 all the way to 42.24 for about 160 point sell-off. And kind of repeating myself here, but we did have the balance at 24, which was the 61.8 retracement of this whole push up from the June 21st low. So that's a pretty bullish indication. And we did retrace basically this entire bearish bar and are now pushing up above it right now. So looking pretty strong. On our 4 hour, we did have a decent bullish indication from that 42.24 low. And then yesterday, when we pulled back right around 7 a.m., we did get a nice bullish indication, which we're going to see this on pretty much all the time frames as we dial down. On that pullback and this bar that closed right around 7 a.m., we did get a nice bullish indication. And then remember, our line in the sand was that 42.79 quarter. So once we could break above 79 quarter, we were going to have a bullish bias for the morning. It's also why we went ahead and tried one aggressive long once we broke through that, and that was essentially never came back to where we made that indication to try long and just pushed out of that area. Just pointing out one more time that 79 quarter level that we had trouble getting through in the overnight session from yesterday was the swing low all the way back here on July 8th. That was pretty clear as being an untested level. So when we pushed up into that, it made a lot of sense for them to pull back, but there was enough bullish strength for them to actually continue and follow through for higher. Now, right now on the 4 hour, we are getting some bearish indications off of these highs. So when just at the close of yesterday, there was somewhat of a bearish indication. Now that did lead to, let's see, it closed at 1950, pulled back, or around 1950, pulled back to just about 10, so got almost a 10-point pullback from where that indication formed, and then bounced right out of that level to continue higher. And then we got another bearish indication here off of our overnight high. So right now on the daily, no indications of exhaustion, but when we get to the 4 hour, we do have a little bit of a bearish exhaustion pattern off of the overnight high. So we'll have to see what the time frames say as we dial down here. On the 60-minute, same agreement with the 4 hour, which is really nice. Bullish from 42.24. Here's that pullback with the bar that closed around 7 a.m. yesterday. So just after the open, another nice bullish divergence, which then led to breaking that 79 quarter, pushing through. And now we do have a bearish indication from the overnight high. So there's an agreement with the 4 hour there. But we also do have a nice bullish divergence off the overnight low at 43.10. So we've got these two levels here. Again, the high is at 43.3850. The low is at 43.10. These are going to, it looks like they're going to be important levels this morning. So I just want to go back to the 4 hour and see off of that overnight low. Yeah, I don't necessarily have a strong indication from a divergence perspective down there, but this hourly for sure is showing it. So let's see what the intermediate time frames are saying here. And then we can build a case for this morning. So 30-minute, every indication that we talked about, outside of the bounce that we got yesterday around 7 a.m., I'm not seeing let me take a look here, 42.55, 42.52. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a strong bullish case from that that low that we made in yesterday's market. But we did have that 42.24 bullish indication. And then at the end of yesterday, an agreement there with the bearish case led to the pullback. And now we do have agreement from 43.10 and from 43.38.50. So we've got kind of a tight little range in here that we're going to have to get through in order for one or the other cases to follow through here. We did get another build up here on this smaller pullback this morning. You can see price launched off of 43.10, pulled back and bounced right off of the previous resistance there. It's kind of hard to see from a higher time frame. Maybe we can go to the 10-minute to see that a little clearer, but bounce right out with a bullish indication there. And we can see the potential bullish indication on the 60-minute. So if we go back up here and we look at that pullback, this is also showing a bullish divergence right now. That divergence is based off of the 43.10 low. So this could still pull back and even come all the way to 43.10, and we'd still have that bullish indication. So 60-minute and 30-minute are agreeing with that. Let's look at our 10-minute. And the 10-minute also has the same indications. So 10-minute did have the bullish case from the previous daily low, had the bullish case all the way back at 42.24, had the bearish case off of the end of yesterday, and then right now we can see a bullish case off of 43.10. And then on the pullback from this push into the overnight session, we also do have that bullish indication around 15.50. So we got 15.50 there. Lots of agreement off of these previous lows back here. And then there was that same bearish indication off of the overnight high. It was not marked by the analyst here, but sometimes you do have to just double and triple check everything. There definitely was a bearish indication. So we've got kind of some parameters here for the morning. For this bullish case to hold, which has been building pretty much on all these little pullbacks as we bounce, we're going to have to get through that overnight high, and then it looks like things will remain intact. And we're really not too far from the all-time high, which is up here around 43.84. So if we do break above the overnight high here, we only have about 40 points and we're back to the all-time highs here. And so we could see a full recovery here. But the picture, remember, anything can happen here. The picture could change on the drop of a dime and we could see some type of sell-off. But right now, things look strong and we could expect a bullish push if we could get outside of that overnight high. If they end up coming back down and they break that 15.50 and get through 43.10, then we could expect a pullback a little bit deeper, but I would still be more interested in looking for bounces off of a pullback rather than looking to fade the market right now, just because everything pretty much points to bullish. So we'll leave it at that for this morning.